Alrighty. Hi everyone.
Hi.
I have read the People of the Eye article for the Deaf History module, and thank you for having a bit of a chat with me about that. I found that really interesting actually. And I think the quote that was quite close to the beginning about how hearing people see the absence of sound as the biggest issue for deaf people, or, and I guess they're looking at it from that medical view. And I just thought, actually, if we stop and think about that, it's quite true, isn't it? That we think that they cannot hear, so they are missing something, and that is the biggest challenge. When in actual fact, that's not true. I also, and then that really went aligned with if people saw people signing, they saw that as that had a stigma to it, and they saw that as a weakness. And yeah, it actually, this article made me feel really sad. It was a pretty, yeah.
What
Um,
parts of it particularly made you feel sad?
yeah, I think just that stigma, that way that someone is judged instantly, um, for something like having access to sound or not. Like it's crazy if you see someone who's not wearing shoes, you don't judge them because they don't have access to shoes.
Or
I
us
just felt
without
like it,
glasses?
yeah, yeah. It's just, it's such an misunderstood thing, isn't it? The way people communicate. And I mean, if you hear someone talking French, you're not judging them as being less than because they don't have English. Um, to me, it just felt really, obviously, it's very judgmental, but it's just so, I know the word for it.
It is the medical model, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thinking, oh, there's
yeah,
something wrong. How
It's
can
a
we fix it?
deficit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And there was a line in there about how, New Zealand has made some improvements over time and some change, but gosh, I think we've still got such a long way to go, don't we? In terms of, we have an NZSL week and we celebrate for that week, and then the following week you don't see it again for another year.
But
It's,
it has improved though. Like, when was that article published? Because I interviewed two staff members and they, just for something else, I can't remember what it was, deaf history, I think, and they said how much it had gotten better and that it was more prevalent in society. Like, if you think of your preschool now, if you go to early childhood, they do a lot of trilingual, in Māori and sign. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
there, but it's not like you say, like in everyday life, like walking down through the mall, you're not going to see someone signing. But in
yeah.
an education setting, I don't know. It seems like it's, and there was this other girl, I can't remember her name, and there's a stuff article, she had cochlears, and she said if she had gotten done 5 years later, her experience would have been a lot more positive.
Yeah,
She could see the shift.
yeah. It was 2001. It's
Yeah.
so interesting that you say about not you don't see people signing down the street. I'll come back to that with story in a second, but I think early childhood do it better though.
Yeah, I did
I think we
too.
could do it better in schools, in mainstream schools. But we were out for lunch the other weekend, and my mum and daughter and I, and we were sitting at a table by the window at a restaurant, and there were some people across the other side of the road, and one of them had some challenges and had fallen over, and the other person was helping her get across the road. And as she walked up to the window, she looked at me and I just, waved. And like she waved back. She was really excited. And then she went like this. And I was like, oh, and signed back to her. And then she was like, oh, you can sign. And we were having this conversation, and she was telling me she was off to get a drink. And she hoped I was having a good day. And thank you for talking to her. Like it was really amazing. And I thought, gosh, how special for her that she just happened to come across somebody who could sign. You could see in her face that that was so rare for her to find someone who could communicate with her in that way. And I was like, oh, how special is that? Like the whole restaurant was kind of watching us and watching this happen. But yeah, imagine that. Imagine you went about your day-to-day life and very rarely come across anybody who could communicate with you, if you're in the shop and you're looking for something. And I think that's also what the article had talked about, mental health, you know, trying to find help in the mental health area. And there wasn't there's not enough people trained who are able to sign. So therefore, we're not able to get the mental health support that they need. And it's just, yeah, when you actually stop to think about it, it's quite overwhelming, isn't it? How isolated
Must
um,
be.
must be, especially in areas where there aren't really strong deaf community, like in Ashburton where I was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was
I've
just
been
my
quite
wee.
heartened in my level three sign language class, how many people, like, it's quite a big class, 25, 30 people, only three are from Kotakareo. And it's really interesting who's there. And it's
Mm,
like nurses and people working in the tax area and lawyer. And it's just people that want to upskill so they can help whoever they run into. That's really amazing. I don't know if, because it's quite, it's 2 hours in the
mm,
night, in the cold,
I,
the dark.
I've
It's a
found the
bit
same
different.
with my New Zealand Sign Language course too. Both I've changed locations this term, but there is only two others from Kotakareo there as well. And like you say, they're from all walks of the life. And I'm sort of like, why are you doing this? I just want to get better and I want to interact and
mm.
learn sign. Like you say, it's a commitment. It's mine's 6:30 to 8:30 at night. That's not, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very cool
Yeah.
to see.
yeah.
I was at the basketball week before last, and one of the wee kids from Whananoa walked past, and it was pretty cool. I was sitting at the bottom of the stands to just tap out and go, hi, and then we were signing to each other, but in front of, the grandstand. And I thought, this is really good. Everyone, please see that
Yeah.
you can just have these quick conversations and
Mm.
anyone can sign if they, try it.
Yeah. So yeah, they were kind of my thoughts, but to be fair, the article it just basically reinforced everything else, and that's why I've done the deaf culture modules after that, which so closely linked to the deaf identity modules. And I mean, everything says the same thing, doesn't it? That deaf community have been so isolated and so um, repressed that I mean, it is going to take a long time to turn that around. But then with that medical model in view, as we were talking about in the Zooey the other day, um, is it going to die out? Is it going to be that there'll be very few people who are left signing? Like it's quite a big thing to consider, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with I think there'll be less deaf people. And when I did the analysis of the outreach numbers, every region except for Auckland had a decrease of numbers in direct
Wow.
students. Um, I think there will be less deaf people, but I don't know if the sign language will die out. I'm not sure. There
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of, but yeah, I guess there might not be as many fluent
Hmm.
signers. I'm not sure.
I guess that's our job at Kutakadeo to try and change that, isn't it? Especially for New
Mm,
Zealand.
mm.
Um, which I guess while I am here, also, if we just went on to the deaf identity for a moment, that also makes me think about, you know, that it's not our place to decide who should sign and who should be oral and who all those sorts of things. And I think because I'm not with students every day, like I guess my perception of how that happens is probably not as accurate, as yours, for example, Kieran, when you're with students. But I know when I've talked with teachers, especially in the enrolled school, it's been, oh no, they've got access to sound, they're oral, they don't need to learn sign. And I think it's really, I guess all of these modules have really put in my mind that's not our place. It's not our place to decide which mode we teach them in. And because we are deaf education, we should be providing all of our students access to sign and allowing them and their whānau to choose whether they are identifying as deaf or as hearing or hard of hearing or whatever it is. I found that quite interesting too.
Mm. A question about the role of RTD, Kieran.
Hmm.
You know how it always kicks in at 4 years, 8 months?
Say that bit again.
Like always funded, you can apply for always funding when you're 4 years, 8 months. But how do we get support into students younger than that, like our 3-year-olds? I know they're
I,
under the AODC, but can we have a crossover at the early childhood
I guess
time?
under 5, they're entitled to a lot more early intervention.
Yeah.
And that's when that all drops off when they turn 5. So when the
Okay.
ORS would come in, so you get your speech language therapy and your OT all sort of under early intervention.
Okay. Cool.
I,
So yeah, so they probably do get stuff. Okay,
mm,
that's good. And the
yeah.
other question I had, um, this is something I read, and I didn't know this was a fact, but the direct indirect and the role of the RTD, it said that the indirect is a sprint of 2 weeks. Like you find a child that's no fine. You have a child that needs extra support for something or other, and the indirect, and you do like a sprint, like 2 weeks of something, and then that's that. A, does that happen? And B, how's it tracked and planned for across our school? Because I haven't seen any paperwork around it at all. And I've just done a big audit of all the outreach paperwork.
So our caseload predictions termly,
Yeah.
the RTDs suggest what should happen next term for that student. So if we've had a student who's been direct and been on the 2+ hours a week, and we think actually they're doing fine, they've upped their levels, they're coping well, the classroom is a great place for them, um, all of that, we might suggest that they go on indirect for half a term or a term, just so we back off a bit and see how it goes without us. Um, I haven't done the reverse where we've taken, oh, actually, no, we have taken students off indirect and put them on to interim support if they're transferring, like if they're going from intermediate to high school, and we think they might just need a bit of support managing the changes in classroom and things like that. So each term, the RTDs suggest what we think the particular students on our caseload, where they should be, whether they should continue as is, whether they should become interim, or whether they should go to indirect. And then from there, the team leads and regional lead look at the numbers and see also who we've got coming through. We've just done the big assessment on them that I'm so really sorry, I should remember the name of it. It gives them a score.
Yeah. The
And
moderation
that's the
tool.
one.
Right.
Yeah. I should know because I've done it 4 times. That's not a story for now. So that also determines, I believe, as to where they sit. But that is, we just do that on our direct non-ORS students.
Does, let me just to be clear in my head, would this, would a RTD have a student on their indirect caseload and then that teacher ring up and say, oh, little Johnny's having trouble with conjunctions? And you go, right, I'll come in and I'll Monday, Tuesday in my indirect time in my timetable, which I have an hour and a half. I'll come in for 2 lots of an hour and a half, and this is what I'm going to do: is set up a program and then touch base with you in 8 weeks and see if it's made a difference. Would something like that happen without
The
jumping between indirect and ITS and all that?
Not that I'm aware of, that's not to say it doesn't. However, all indirect referrals now go through a form. So they we will never have a teacher come to us or a parent come to us. They do a
Go through the
referral
form.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's not something that the RTDs would get the chance to say yay or nay to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all very interesting. So that's cool. Thank you.
You'd think if it was just something like having a simple problem, I would be wondering why the teacher hasn't put something in place.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool.
had messaged Ray when that was what my question was about for the role of the RTD module. I said to her, "Do you want me to look at the RTD job description, or do you want me to look at my own job description?" Um, so she said to look at my own. So that module, I looked at it from the perspective of how can I better support RTDs and teachers of the
Perfect.
deaf,
Yeah.
um, which was really good. Um, it was really good to look at my job description again, actually. And I was like, oh, that's what it says that my job is. But I've only I've only got to work on what I've seen on the few times that I've been able to go into provision. So I think, yeah, my learning from that was that I definitely need to spend more time with RTDs. And I mean, you've helped a lot with that, Kieran, because, all of our little chats and I get more of an insight into how it actually works. But yeah, it was quite interesting doing that module from my perspective of one step back, and I'm not sure I'm not sure if I've come out of it right or not. Like I don't know if what I've done is right, but yeah,
What you could do is, you know, Laura, she in the corridor, she's suggested that she shadows an RTD and the
yeah,
RTD comes here. I reckon you should do that, Kelly, and that can be
yeah,
your master. I mean, you don't have to have it done by the time this is submitted. You
yeah,
could write as your master that you're going to shadow RTD and you go into the day school and observe and then see
yeah,
how you could
yeah.
create
That's a
curriculum
great
sources that
idea.
come.
Yeah. I am, and I think because at the moment the curriculum team focus has been so heavily on enrolled school, um, but I don't, I'm sure there's lots of ways that we could support with resources and things for RTDs
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, that's a really good idea. Where I saw when she wrote that, I was like, oh, that'd be really fun, to
Yeah,
try
just
and
do it.
do
'Cause
that. So,
I
yeah,
did it for 2 weeks. I went out with all sorts of people and it was so useful. And then
yeah,
that's helped inform a lot of decisions
yeah,
that I've been part of.
that's really good. Yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
yeah,
So, you not got any other modules they need to discuss?
I don't think so.
All right, should we stop the recording?
Yeah,
It'll go on your